Oh, hey, buddy, it's your old pal Scott. Why am I wearing safety goggles? Well, for science, of course. Did you ever hear about loading dice and people claim, oh, you can melt your dice or you can load them with weights or whatever? Well, I looked up a method to do it online and I tried it. I tested it out scientifically. Let's see if we can load some dice. So we've all heard the old wives' tales of can you melt your dice so they settle a certain way and always roll sixes, or can you counterbalance your dice with a weight, drill it out and fill it and all that so that it always rolls sixes. And there are some companies that sell weighted dice, guaranteed to roll sixes or whatever, right? For like magic tricks and stuff. But I always heard that you could do this at home, and I was always just curious, is there any realism to this? You know, a tiny amount of weight when the dice rolling, will that actually counteract anything? So I decided to look online and see the various different ways that you supposedly can load dice, and I decided to try one. So here's how it went. So I picked one of my oldest sets of dice, one of the very first sets I ever bought, and to be honest, they always rolled garbage for me. I know that's anecdotal, but they really always rolled pretty low. Let's see if I was right about that or it was all in my head. So I took 3 random dice out of it and decided these will be the 3 for my sample. I rolled those 3 dice 100 times and recorded what number they rolled each time to get a probability for each roll. Science. Well, for you playing at home, you can see that it was in fact not in my head. I've been vindicated on this. This set of dice really does hate rolling sixes and rolls ones almost 50% more often than they roll sixes. So it's time for us to change something about that. Let's see if we can actually weight them and change the odds on these bad boys. Time to drill. Being that the ones are on the opposite side of the sixes, and we're going to be adding weight so that the sixes will be on top, that means the ones will be on the bottom. So I had to drill holes and drill out the 1 pip. And I had ball bearings for paint mixers that I was going to put in there. So you'll see that's basically what I did. It smelled a little like plastic, but it wasn't too bad. And I was a little surprised to know that these dice actually were green all the way through, which is not something you often see. But they were like a mint green on the inside. Of course, wherever possible, you should be using safety precautions, such as not holding that tiny, tiny dice in the middle of your fleshy fingers, so that you don't catch a drill bit in the finger. There you can see they're large enough to put some ball bearings in. And there's our 3 ugly little dice. Now, of course, you could fill those holes with green stuff and repaint them to try to match, but I'm really not trying to make these actual cheater dice, so I'm just going to leave them very obviously altered. Now, guess what time it is? It's time to roll these things 100 more times. That's 300 more dice rolls. So I did that and recorded exactly what I found, and I was noticing more sixes than before, but how does it actually pan out? What are the actual statistics? Well, let's look. Well, my hypothesis is that being that the ones will be heavier, the sixes will be much more prevalent, and, you know, it did work out that way. I was actually expecting sixes to be the most prevalent, but come to find out, for some reason, fours took the cake. But you can see that 4s, 5s, and 6s obviously were leading the way. So let's compare these 2 charts so you can see exactly what changed. So as you can see, the 1s were cut down by 1/3, and the 6s were increased slightly. The 4s and 5s were increased quite a bit, and overall, it's rolling much, much better than it did before. So if you need 4-up saves, you're pretty darn good, because a good portion of that was a 4 or higher, over 50%. And there you have it, people. Yeah, apparently you can load dice. It doesn't exactly turn out the way that you expected, but this was a fun, if not tedious, little science project. So, now you know, next time you want to cheat with your dice, you can kind of do it, but I would not suggest it because it's just lame. Why would you do that? Anyway, I will end up throwing those away. That's why I didn't paint them or anything like that, because I didn't want them to actually be used for cheating. I just wanted to use it for science. And I don't know why this beaker full of dice pleases me so much, but it does. Anyway, you can email me at letstalktabletopscott@gmail.com. If you'd like, subscribe, those other things I can't think of right now, please do that. And let me know if you've ever weighted some dice.